Good morning, students. How are you all? Are you all fine? Okay, so today we will start the last topic of the chapter. Okay, we have completed chapter 6, that was combustion and flame. Only one part of it is left, and that is fuels. Okay, so today we will start fuels, but before that let's check the assignment answers which you have got in the last class. Okay, let's see what were the answers of your last assignments. First question you got was, name the three different layers of flame. So you will write the different layers of flame are: first, outermost zone; second, middle zone; and third, innermost zone. Then second question, where is outermost zone used? So your answer will be, outermost zone is used by goldsmith for melting gold and silver. Then your third question was, why is middle zone called the zone of incomplete combustion? Middle zone is called the zone of incomplete combustion because of insufficient supply of air. So hope you all have done it correctly. Now let's move on to our topic. So students, from the last previous chapter onwards, we are coming into consideration with fuels. Okay, you all know what are fuels, right? The substances which burn and produce heat and light are called fuels. Substances which burn to produce heat and light, they are known as fuels. Very good. Then examples could be wood, charcoal, kerosene, many more are there: petrol, diesel, LPG, many type of fuels we have. Clear? And these fuels are very necessary for industrial purposes, for domestic purposes, and for many other purposes. Okay? Then, from where we get the fuels? Where we get the fuels? See, we get some of the fuels from deep down the earth, as we have studied coal and petroleum. There are some fuels like wood, paper, which we get from trees. Okay, so there are various different sources of fuels. All the fuels, okay, in the presence of air, they burn and give us heat energy or the light energy. This we have studied. Okay, students, fuels can be of three types. It can be a solid fuel, it can be a liquid fuel, or it can be a gaseous fuel. Clear? Under solid fuel, we have examples such as wood, coal, okay, etc. Then under liquid, we have many: petrol, diesel, means almost all the petroleum products. Clear? Then students, I want you to think a particular LPG. Okay, just think of it. LPG is the gas we use in our homes for cooking. Yes. So, will it come under the category of a liquid fuel, or it will come under the category of gaseous fuel? This would be a hot question for you. You will think of it. Don't go for internet, just think of it. There is a very slight hidden hint in that, and it will let you know. So think of it. Okay. Then when we come to gaseous fuel, we have biogas, we have natural gas. Then in destructive distillation, we have also studied about coal gas. So many are there. So we conclude fuels are of three types: solid fuel, liquid fuel, and gaseous fuel. Okay. Now, you may wonder, it is written good fuels. So, do you think fuels are good or it is bad? No, I don't think so. See students, fuels have to be, means they should have some particular characteristic features, okay, which makes it good. It is not good in terms of its looks or its texture or anything, but good fuel means a fuel having certain good characteristics which makes it a better fuel to be used. Clear? So now we will study some characteristics of a good fuel. Okay, how fuel could be a good fuel, we'll study. These are some of the characteristics which tells us that fuel is good or not. Okay, and we cannot say that all these characteristics will be found in one fuel. It's not possible, but at times, see, we say the quotation that no one is perfect. Okay, no one is perfect. So, no fuel is perfect or ideal. Clear? Good fuels are also called ideal fuels. So, no fuel is ideal. Clear? We cannot get all the characteristics in one fuel. But even then, the fuel which considers most of these requirements, okay, more than 50% of these requirements, they are considered as good or ideal fuel. First one, it burns easily in air. Burns easily in air means the fuel should not take so much time to burn. Okay. Whenever we talk about fuel, if I say wood, okay, wood takes a bit of time to burn. So we cannot say it burns very quickly, but even then it is a good fuel if it is in a proper condition, like it is very dry, then it will catch fire easily. But even then, if we see kerosene, petrol, diesel, all these fuels give us immediate burning. So a fuel should burn easily in air. This characteristic is found in almost all the fuels. Almost, I am not saying all, maybe some which is not possible, but almost. Then second one, produces large amount of heat. It produces large amount of heat. Yes, fuel should produce large amount of heat. It should fulfill our requirements of heat. Then only it is a good fuel. Then third, it does not leave unwanted residues. Now what is the meaning of unwanted residues? See students, the fuels which does not leave unwanted residues means the things which could not be used. Clear? When we talk about wood, for example, if we talk about wood, okay, when we burn wood, we get ashes. Do we get or not? Yes, we get ashes. That ashes are also used for many purposes. It can be used for fertilizer purpose for plants. It can be used for many other purposes. So it is not leaving any unwanted residue. It is the wanted one. So a fuel should not leave any unwanted residue which is not good for environment or not good for people. Clear? Then fourth one, it is easy to store and transport. See, the fuels should be very easier to be stored and transport. For example, see, when we store, it is easy to store kerosene, yes or no? We store it in our homes in simply the plastic bottles or containers. So it should be easy to store and it should be easy to transport. See, transport easy means when we take it from one place to another, it should not consider any risk ethics. It should be safe. That means it is easy to store and transport. The last one, it should be cheap and easily available. See, if I consider about cheapness, then no fuel is so cheap to be used. All the fuels are costlier. It is not cheap. But even then, it should be a bit of cheap. Clear? And it should be easily available. If we talk, see, nowadays we are using the alternative of CNG. We have studied. But CNG is not easily available right now. In very few places it is available. So it is not yet under the category of good fuel. It definitely does not harm environment, so it is very good. But even then, it cannot be considered as a good fuel because it is not easily available now. But in the coming future, it can be. So these are the 5 characteristics of a good fuel. I hope it is clear to you. Now, our next topic is fuel efficiency. How we will check? See, good fuel is bad and bad fuel is another term, but there is a particular unit, a particular way or method by which we can calculate the efficiency of a fuel. Means, how is a fuel, how it is being used, what is its efficiency, what is its, how it can be taken, all these things could be measured. Now, the efficiency of fuel is something which is means calculating the working of a fuel. Okay, how much efficient it is. Clear? Efficiency means how much it is efficient, how much it could be used in a better manner. That is meaning of efficiency. Now, how we will measure it? So, it is measured in the terms of calorific value. Calorific value. It is a term known as calorific value. C-A-L-O-R-I-F-I-C. Calorific V-A-L-U-E value. Calorific value. It is a very important term. Okay. Now, what is calorific value? Calorific value is a value which is defined as the amount of heat energy produced by the combustion of 1 kg of fuel. Whenever we measure something, we take a particular standard, and standard is always either 1 gram, 1 kg, 1 liter, like that. That is the standard one. So here we are saying if we are using 1 kg of fuel, okay, 1 kg of fuel, then how much heat energy is generated from 1 kg of fuel tells the calorific value of the fuel, and that calorific value will define its efficiency. Clear? Then, how it is measured? The unit of fuel efficiency is kilojoule per kg. Kilojoule per kg. It is measured in the terms of kilojoule per kg. Kilojoule per kg. You know that in physics you have understood about joule. What is joule? The measurement, the unit of energy is joule. Clear? And per kg means 1 kg of fuel. So, kilojoule per kg, and its short form is written as kJ/kg. kJ/kg. So, this is called fuel efficiency. Are you all clear? Now, when I am talking about fuel efficiency, okay, when we measure the fuel or its efficiency in terms of calorific value, so different fuels will have different calorific values on the basis of which they are considered as efficient, less efficient, more efficient or most efficient. Clear? So students, higher the value of calorific value, higher is the efficiency of the fuel. Means as the value will increase, as the calorific value of the fuel will increase, its efficiency also increases. Clear? So, the increased calorific value represents the high efficient fuel. Clear? Now we will see some different fuels and their calorific values. See students, this shows the calorific value of some fuels. Clear? Let's see. First we will see cow dung cakes. Okay, you may be knowing that especially in the rural areas, this cow dung cakes are being made. How it looks? It's just the cow dung is made into circular cakes. Okay. Generally ladies do it with the hands, and then they are being dried in the sun. Then they turn dried, and then they can be used as fuel purpose for cooking and other things. So that cow dung cakes has the calorific value of 6000 to 8000 kilojoule per kg. Okay, it is less. Then wood. Wood is having 17,000 to 22,000 kilojoule per kg calorific value. Then coal. Coal is having 25,000 to 33,000. This shows that this chart, okay, this is from the least to the highest. So it is starting from the least value. Then you can see the calorific value is increasing one after the other. Then one more thing you can notice here is petrol, diesel and kerosene. Petrol, diesel and kerosene, all the three have 45,000 kilojoule per kg calorific value. Means petrol, diesel and kerosene have the same calorific value. Then you can see methane and CNG, compressed natural gas. These two are having 50,000 kilojoule per kg. Clear? Then LPG. LPG is having 55,000 kilojoule per kg calorific value. Now one more thing you can see here is LPG which we use is having more calorific value, and it is better than kerosene, CNG, methane. Okay, it is better. Then comes the coke. Coke is again having a certain high amount of calorific value, that is 83,000 kilojoule per kg. Then now comes the best one, which is that hydrogen. It is the best among all, and it is having the highest calorific value. Yeah, it is having the highest calorific value. Clear? But even then it cannot be taken as gaseous form. We all know hydrogen is a gas, but we cannot take hydrogen gas as a fuel in its gaseous form. Then it is stored, it is being crystallized, then it is stored in the liquid form and used as a domestic fuel. Clear? Then you may have seen that you may be knowing about many type of gases which cannot be stored in their own simplest forms. They are being converted to some other state and then being stored. Same way hydrogen is also stored in its liquid form. Then it is also used as a domestic fuel, and it is having the highest calorific value. Then where is this liquid hydrogen used? This liquid hydrogen is generally used as spacecraft fuel. Clear? We are using petrol, diesel and other ones, but in a spacecraft hydrogen in liquid form is used as the fuel. So this is all about calorific value. Clear? So higher the calorific value of the fuel, more will be the efficiency. Then efficiency of a fuel can be found out using calorific values. Clear? Okay, so that's it. Then we'll go for the next topic. Now let's know what are the harmful effects of burning fuels. Clear? We have studied in the previous chapter that burning of fuels cause very much harmful effects on environment, on living organisms and on other things also. Yeah. So now let's see some of the harmful impact or the effects of burning fuels. See, nowadays Due to advancement in technology, we are using enough amount of fuels, different fuels. Yeah, we have increased our consumption of fuels, right? We use bikes, scooters, then cars, okay, many things we use. Then we use different machines. Yeah, so all this uses burning of fuels. So this may cause harmful effect on the environment. So some of the bad effects or the harmful effects of burning fuels may, first, it may cause respiratory diseases. Now, how the respiratory diseases are caused? See students, when we burn the fuels like wood, coal, petroleum, etc., they burn leaving some residues which are unburnt. Means all the parts of those fuels are not burnt. They leave some residue behind them. And that residue is nothing but the carbon particles. Clear? It is the carbon particles which is left out. These particles are very fine. Very fine means the particles, the molecules are very small, and that's why when we inhale air, with air, that is also inhaled in our body, and that may lead to respiratory diseases. It may block our lungs, or it may cause other problems. It may cause allergy. Different kinds of respiratory diseases can be caused. Clear? And when this unburnt particles come out, okay, these unburnt particles are known as, so this may cause, and this are called SPM. Clear? SPM is suspended particulate matter. Suspended means the thing which is mixed, okay, mixed, very fine, and can mix with other particles, that are known as suspended. And particulate, particulate means the left out residue, that is known as particulate. So suspended particulate matter, that is the unburnt carbon particles. This become dangerous, and when these particles are inhaled by us, we may lead to respiratory diseases. Many are there, like asthma, then allergy or blockage of lungs, and many more. Okay? Then the second one, greenhouse effect. Okay? Greenhouse effect. Now how greenhouse effect is caused? See students, when we burn fuels, this causes carbon dioxide to be added into the atmosphere. And when more amount of carbon dioxide goes into the air, into the atmosphere, this leads to greenhouse effect. See, our atmosphere is a balanced one. We are having 21% oxygen, 17% nitrogen, then 0.03% carbon dioxide. Then we have human beings, we have plants. Plants take carbon dioxide and we exhale, and plants take. Plants give oxygen and take carbon dioxide. So the balance of this oxygen and carbon dioxide is taken out. But when we burn more and more fuels, this balance is disturbed. Means more carbon dioxide goes into the air, and this causes greenhouse effect. And greenhouse effect will certainly cause and lead to global warming. See, global warming we have studied, it is the rise in temperature. Okay, rise in the temperature. Sudden rise in the temperature is called global warming. Clear? Then, because of this, what happens? The atmosphere becomes too hot, and when the atmosphere becomes too hot, the ice glaciers which are present on the mountains or the higher places, they start to melt. Okay, and then when they start to melt, the water flows, and then when the water flows, the sea level rises, and when the sea level rises, they come out to the land and cause flooding conditions. So it causes greenhouse effect, which is a very serious term for the environment. Then third one, carbon monoxide production. Then students, when we burn fossil fuels, we have studied about different types of combustion. Among that, two types were complete and incomplete combustion. Yeah? When the fuel burns in enough amount of air supply, it forms carbon dioxide. But when the supply of air is not sufficient, it forms incomplete combustion. Clear? So when the incomplete combustion occurs, then carbon monoxide gas is produced, and ultimately carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas. If we inhale extra amount of carbon dioxide at times, it may even lead to death. Sorry, not carbon dioxide, it's carbon monoxide. If we inhale carbon monoxide, then what will happen? We can lead to very serious diseases, and also we can lead to death also. Clear? So this is carbon monoxide production, another harmful effect of burning fuels. Then comes the acid rain. See, when we burn some fuels like coal, diesel, etc., these fuels produce another gas, that is sulfur dioxide gas. Clear? Sulfur dioxide gas, SO2. And this is also highly poisonous. Like carbon monoxide, it is also highly poisonous. And when these gases are released into the atmosphere, they mix with it, and then they mix with the air, and this air goes up, forms the cloud, and the water which flows down, that is the water mixed with oxides of sulfur, and that is nothing but the acid rain. And you know, acid rain can cause harm to our monuments like Taj Mahal and others. Then it may cause death to plants, trees. Then it may cause soil infertility, damage to crops, and many other things could be done. It can cause skin diseases in ours. So acid rain is also a very harmful effect of burning burning fuels. Then next one is harm to living organisms. In all the above four cases, ultimately the living organisms are affected. Either it is human beings, either it is microorganisms, or either it is animals or birds. All the kinds of living organisms on earth are affected due to burning of fuels. Clear? So these are some of the harmful effects of burning fossil fuels. Now let's see some steps we can take to reduce these harmful effects. Okay? These harmful effects caused by burning of fuels can be reduced by taking some of the good steps. First, use natural energy resources or sources. Okay? What could be those resources? Like solar energy, wind energy, then biogas. All these are the natural energy resources. Clear? Which cause less harm. Less or no harm. Then we can use the unleaded petrol. Clear? But the petrol we use has extra amount of lead mixed with it. Clear? It is not the pure form of petrol which we use. Some lead amount is mixed in that. Especially in today's era, the amount of lead mixed in the petrol is more. So it is more harmful than the previous one. So we should try that the petrol we use should be the unleaded one. It is not in our hands, but even then we can try. Yeah. Then third is catalytic converters in car. Now what is catalytic converters? See students, these converters are fitted in the cars, okay, in the four-wheelers, and this will automatically remove the harmful substances which is present in the exhaust fumes. Clear? Means the harmful substances which come inside, clear? It will remove them automatically. We don't need to do anything. It will automatically remove the harmful substances. Yeah. Then CNG. We have already studied that CNG is a very good alternative for petrol, diesel, and we can use them for our domestic purposes because it causes less air pollution and it is cleaner fuel. Clear? So, these are some of the useful steps which we can take to reduce the harmful effect. There are many more. But these are the some general and important points which I have given you. Hope you all are clear with all the topics. And with this, the chapter is completed. Okay, so let's recall what we have studied in this chapter. Firstly, we studied about the introduction in which we came to know what is combustion, then what are combustible and non-combustible substances. Clear? Then we studied about the complete and incomplete combustion. When it appears in the sufficient supply of air, it is complete combustion, and when it is incomplete supply, insufficient supply, then it is incomplete combustion. Then we came to conditions necessary for combustion. And the three conditions were fuel, oxygen and heat, which together is known as fire triangle. Okay, we studied about the fire triangle. In conditions necessary only, fuel, we were knowing that fuel is a very important thing. Without fuel we cannot burn. Then from oxygen we came to know that air is very necessary for combustion, and we did the activity also. Do you remember? We kept the glass jar and the candle was extinguished. So this was showing that air is necessary for combustion. Then we saw the heat, and under heat we studied about ignition temperature. It is the temperature, the point at which the substance starts burning. We also did the activity for this also. Did you remember? Did you remember? We took the paper cup. Then we saw it is catching fire or not. Then we used the cup filled with water. So this was for ignition temperature. Then we studied about the fire control. We saw various necessary steps which we can take to control fire, use of carbon dioxide and many other things. And one important term in that was fire extinguisher. Okay, we saw the structure of fire extinguisher, how it is used and what is the process. Then we studied about the types of combustion. It is rapid, spontaneous and explosion. For rapid combustion, we took the example of the LPG gas stove. For spontaneous, we saw for the forest fires. Then explosion could be the burning of crackers. Then we studied about flame. There we studied what are the characteristics of a flame, then what is flame, then how it causes to be a flame. All the substances does not cause flame, all those things we saw. And then we took an example of candle and we saw the structure of a flame, which consisted of outermost zone, middle zone and the inner zone. And today only we studied about the fuel, then fuel efficiency, then harmful effects, then its precautions which we can take. Then we studied about good or ideal fuel. Then one important topic that came here was the calorific value, and we saw the chart. We saw the structure of, calorific value of different fuels, then how it increases, decreases. Then we came to know that higher the calorific value, better is the fuel. So students, with this we finish our chapter, and with this we can conclude that combustion is an important process which occurs, and combustion is the process of burning of a substance in the presence of air or oxygen along with the evolution of heat and light. Clear? So I hope you all are clear with the chapter. If you have any doubt, then you can clear it. Now, time for some applications based on today's class. Fill in the blanks. First, burning coal and diesel release dash gas. What gas it releases? It releases SO2 gas, sulfur dioxide gas. Then second, dash is a poisonous gas. CO is a poisonous gas. Clear? Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas. Then third, the unit of fuel is dash. The unit of fuel is kilojoule per kg. Clear, students? I hope you are clear with it. Now time for your homework. So these 3 questions you will do it and show to me. First, what is a fuel? Second, what are the 3 types of fuels? Third, what is an ideal fuel? Clear? Thank you. Have a good day.